Welcome to another edition of Gol Bezan. Today we're going to be joined by Peshman Pars, Imana Hajir, my best friend Adam Samin, and regular panels Ayers of Paycon, which you guys hear numerous of times that has been on our pod. Unfortunately, we couldn't discuss about the aftermath of Guam and India, so we're going to combine these two into one podcast. And obviously, the great Bob Gories and C9 Samian won't be with us. But interesting enough, we're looking forward to having, Adam and Iman throughout this pod. How are you guys doing today?
Doing fantastic, thank you.
Thanks, Mojo.
Yeah, pleasure. So, I'm going to start this off with you, Alireza, and then I'm going to go down the panel and ask them on your thoughts. What were your general thoughts on Iran's last two matches against Guam and India? And knowing that right now we're number one in Group D and basically very close to qualifying for the next round.
Pasha, it were two easy matches. I don't think the teams like Guam and India should be a difficult story for us. Everybody was a little hyped up before the match about Guam that they had two wins. But as we were chatting in our group, I told you guys it will be easy against those teams because the level of competition that they play and the level of the preparing and training is not to compare with Iran, especially with the young talents that we have. And was, in my opinion, very strong Taromi and Azmoun. It's a big difference than playing against Japan and Korea. So we have proven that was really easy for us.
Yeah. I mean, we're going to touch about Taremi and Azmoun throughout the pod, but now coming through you, Iman, what's your general thoughts on the game before we go into specifics?
It was good. As Alireza said, the two games were supposed to be 3 points, both of them. The thing that I was most interested of seeing is how we would bounce back after the Turkmenistan game. How would Kairush compile the team to actually get a good result, not only just win, but actually get a really good result and show both the team and the fans that we are a top Asian team, so to speak. And I would point to the balance in midfield and the experienced central line with Hosseini, Montazeri, Andranik, and Ebrahimi. But we'll maybe get to that later in this part in the part of the podcast.
Yeah. Adam?
Yeah, I think for both games, it was exactly what was expected. We should have 9 points. Iran should have 9 points. I mean, if we look at the past two games for Guam, they beat, India, and then they beat Turkmenistan. I mean, it's ridiculous. There should be no hype. Iran played a fantastic 2 games. We're clearly the leaders on the board. We should have beaten Turkmenistan. I think overall our composure was very, very good. We bounced back very well. I had no doubt that we would come back strong. Our passes were connecting on every opportunity during both India and Guam games. So overall, very impressed by our performance, and I look forward to the bigger and better matches we'll have in the future.
Pejman?
I was one of those that were kind of, I won't say scared, but I didn't have that high hopes that we would actually have a good performance, or I was even actually scared that we would lose some points in these 2 games, because historically, Iran have a hard time playing against weaker teams. Now, Guam and India are not even called weaker teams. They're super weak, but they have made some progress in the last years, and we all seen that when Iran plays bad against these kind of teams, we struggle, and we're not used to having the ball and dictating a game. That's not our kind of style. But against these kind of teams, we still manage to do something. So yeah, I'm glad that we managed to get a good score in these two games.
You know, looking past these two matches, I think we all could agree on that the person that impressed me the most, honestly, was obviously Sardar Azmoun, especially for his age, especially knowing that Karim Ansari Fad used to be dubbed the new Ali Dai, but that never happened. You know, and I don't think it will ever happen. And seeing Azmoun with, you know, just how with his movement and the way he reads the game and the way he opens up plays has shown him something. He's impressed me the most, and I hope he carries on. For that, my question to you guys is, looking at the way he's gonna grow up and the way Kairosh has seen something in him, what does that really mean for Guchan Nejad and Ansari Fad? You know, just looking at how big of a prospect Azmoun is and how well he's been playing for us as opposed to those two individuals. I'm gonna come off to you, Pejman, again.
I think it's great that we actually have some real competition in the striking position. Because to be honest, there haven't been any competition. It haven't been whoever have been good enough, or not simply just bad enough. We haven't had that striker for a long time. So putting that pressure on Bochanejad is a good thing, because him moving to these Arab clubs in the Persian Gulf was maybe good for his pocket, but for his career, moving from Charlton was a bad idea. So maybe he returning to Charlton and getting some professional practice and playing good games in the championship can help him to actually retain that spot, or maybe even we'll see Bochanejad and Azmoun playing together, like the old Azizi and Dai formation. So I'm actually glad that we have competition in front. That's not something that we're spoiled with these days.
Iman?
I mean, Karim really needs to prove himself right now, especially in the Greece league. I mean, it's like his last chance. He's actually getting up there in ages where he should be at his prime. Reza's future role in the national team, I think, is a super sub, basically, as we saw in the Asian Cup. A good forward running in channels and has a good positioning and good placement to do a couple of tap-ins. So, yeah, Sardar is like, I'll put all my money in the bets to him becoming the new future super striker in the team MLE. If you watch the games against Guam and India, he might not always be like in the build-up play and everything, but every like finish, the header against Guam is like top class. The height, the timing, the precision, the actual power in the heads, world class.
Ali Reza?
I'm not impressed by Reza Guchanejad. I don't think that he has that level. He has made some important goals, and I know everybody's hype around him, and they love him because he scored against Korea and stuff like that. But if you look at the potential, I think Karim Ansari Fad was the best striker that we had, even much better in my opinion than Azmoun, because at the time that he played in Iran, he made dribbles, he had good shots, he was really strong, and his fitness was really, really great. I remember that he was a couple times the top goal scorer of Iran, and in my opinion, Iran is a hard competition to score. The teams are playing a lot of defense, and hard tackles and stuff like that. Physically very strong, but I don't think that Karim Ansari Fad will get back on his old level. So in that position, I will choose for Azmoun. But we are forgetting that Taroumi, Pejman was talking about Reza Guchanejad and Azmoun. But why not Taroumi?
Yeah, we're going to talk about Taroumi.
I don't see him play as right wing or if Jahanbakhsh turns back.
Yeah. Adam, what are your thoughts on the striker position?
Yeah, I think what Azmoun does is he brings a huge diversity to the striker position, and I think that from a few highlights that we were seeing in the India game, he is a fantastic player. He is he has a lot to learn, and he has a ways to go, but he knows when to make the right runs, when to make the right passes, the cuts inside the box, outside. He is, at a very young age, he is doing very well, and I think that with him, our future will be bright.
My next question is now looking at...
Sorry question.
Yeah.
What Adam said is great. At his potential, with his age, it's huge. But didn't we think the same about Karim Ansarifat?
Yeah.
He was like the same. So I think you need to make the switch to strong European competition before it's too late.
Yeah.
Because if you, with this talent, you cannot reach the potential that he has. I think there was a mistake also with Karim. If Ansarifat made earlier the switch, it would be a great striker now.
Thinking about... looking at Osman right now, you just brought this up, Alireza, which I want to pinpoint it to. As we saw with Omar Abdul Rahman, very natural talent, but if ever for his, for the sake of his whatever comfort and money and stuff, he wanted to stay at home instead of just being known in Asia and not known elsewhere, as we saw, especially with Javad Nekunam, unfortunately. Is Osman a player that you guys think will want to move up to the next level after FC Rostov in order to show himself? Obviously, we all know how the talented player he is, and he's shown himself in Asia. But for Europeans or other people to see it, do you think he's a player that's going to be moving to that next step? Because unfortunately, with his father and being his agent and stuff, it doesn't seem likely. So I'm going to start off with you, Pejman, just to keep on touching on Osman. Do you think that's going to be the case?
Well, you made a good point, pointing out his father as his basically mentor also. Because when you're that young, you need good people around you. You need to make tough and hard decisions that you can see the results in maybe 5-6 years after that. And it's really hard to make those kind of decisions when you're that young and you just want to do what's best for you that day or that week or maybe that month. So I don't know him personally, and he had, when he was a bit younger, he spoke at several other clubs were after him. Now that's in good big clubs such as Arsenal. Now that he's actually performing in a regular basis, more or less, he got the opportunities to play in a good European league in a decent club. So basically, it's up to him and his agent and the people around him to make that good decision. If he doesn't make that decision, it won't be because he's a bad player or they don't want him. It's because of something isn't right. Now that may be money, that may be a feeling in the guts, or basically it could be that he loves Russia so much that he doesn't want to leave that league. It could be that as well.
Yeah.
So we have to wait and see.
Yeah. So right now I'm gonna go touch on something else. I appreciate that, Pejman. Looking at Queiroz's tactics, he was very, very naive, very basically underestimated Turkmenistan. That was just the squad was very unbalanced, and these past two games that we saw against Guam and India, we were very much balanced, and we got the points that we should have gotten. There's no question about it. And we played the game, attacking style football that we should have played against them and not drop back and wait for them to counterattack. So coming back to you, Iman, what you thought about Queiroz's tactics and the way he, his lineup and the players he used?
I mean, the first thing that really stood out was like the inclusion of Hosseini. As I mentioned before, like he bounced back from the Turkmenistan game with an experienced central line that isn't quite sexy. It's like Hosseini, Montazeri, Teimoyo, and Ebrahimi. But he needed the 3 points, and he could do that because he balanced the team with that central line that knows the game, that knows where to stay put, the positioning, when to press, when to fall, etc., etc. And in front of those guys, the key point with the attacking balance was that Dejaga was the main creator instead of Shojai in the middle, with like Amiri and Taremi doing runs forward. So he could be like the real free roaming central attacking midfielder, creating all those attacking runs for the other guys and for Osmo to finish. So that balance was far more superior if you compare it to like Turkmenistan, where it was when Queiroz was invincibly naive, would put in like Haydari in a free headless chicken running role in the middle, which was totally insane. So I think it was good. It was a balanced midfield with Teimourian pressing, winning balls, Ebrahimi falling back, distributing easy passes to gain control further up the pitch. Like no creative forces, but easy 1-2s. As I said, Sardar not involved as much in the build-up play against Guam and everything, but with like Dejaga, Amida, and Taremi free to roam behind him, he just stayed central and was like the real striker that finishes with the finishes that oozes class. I think Ashkan Dejaga, attacking-wise, is like on a whole nother level. He builds up like almost everything in the third half. So I think the balance was right, and I was happy to see the substitutions in both games to give the younger player nods, even though he started off with a quite old and experienced central line.
Yep. I'm gonna come off to you. I'm also gonna sad because we were talking about Mehdi Taremi. You know, his movement has been amazing to watch, and especially the partnership he's having with Osmoon behind him. But the interesting enough is that he sometimes was playing as a right wing, as we know Jahanbakhsh, wasn't included because of his injury and stuff, and he remained in Holland. What do you make out of that partnership going on, and especially the lineup as a whole?
Yeah, Taremi and Osmoon they have a good click. You see that the way they played, there's something like telepathy, how they think, and the one is running, the other is. There's something really good. It looks good, but I think that they are young. These two they should be a good couple for the Iranian football. But on the lineup, he played with a good lineup in my opinion. We still miss someone like Jawad Mekunan. We miss it. We don't have it in the team, and I don't know if we will have someone like him in the few upcoming years. But can you guys tell me, because I'm still in shock, Haydari. What is his position? What the guy? Is he a right defender because he cannot defend? Is he a winger because he doesn't have technique or a good cross?
His position is.
They call him the Beckham of Asia, but I cannot count 3 good crosses in a match. He's really weak player. I know Queiroz loves him. I don't know why, because the way he runs. He's at this moment. He was good a few years ago when he played at Estalal when Jabari sent the passes and he was running and crossing, and Borhani wasn't scoring. So what do you think about him?
Yeah,
I don't get it.
Yeah, let me make a point about that. As we saw, Ghafouri was injured. He's our right back, first choice, and then backup was Ramin Rezayan, if I'm not mistaken. And immediately he came on, he gave an assist, right? But for whatever reason, he still opted for Khosrow Haydari. I don't know what this love relationship is between them, as especially when we sometimes see Khosrow Haydari playing as a right wing, which is, he sends million crosses, maybe 1 or 2 of them is actually on point, and that's rare. Coming off to you again, Pejmont, tell us about the situation.
Sorry. Even if those two, Rezayan or Ghafouri, are injured, we still can put Montazeri on the right side.
Yeah.
Because he's a so player.
We saw that in the World Cup. He's
good enough. Why we need this guy? Why I don't get it.
Maybe there's something going on behind the scenes, money under the table or something. But
no, I don't think so.
I'm just messing. Pejman, and then after I'm gonna come to Adam. What are your thoughts on this that Aliza was brought up, which is a great point?
About Haydari?
Yeah.
Poor guy, he's getting mangled in Gol Bezan once again.
Sina is not around, so it's okay.
We have to be honest. I think, personally, Haydari was a favorite of mine a couple of years ago. Well, a couple should be maybe 6-7 years ago, I don't know, when he was at his prime. When he's good, He's actually good. He runs a lot and he makes decent crosses. The problem is that he hasn't been good or at the level that you should expect for a professional football player in some time now. But we all know that Queiroz values experience, even against teams such as India and Guam. So that was a big surprise for me when he lets all these young players play. But I guess he knows that it's a long time to Russia 2018, and a lot of the players are too old, even his experienced players. So I think he needs some experience there. For me, it is a little bit too unpolished. He's a little bit too wild. He gets yellow cards too often. When he was in but it was a weaker team. I think if I would have to choose between Rezoyan and Haydari, it wouldn't be that easy of a choice for me, to be honest. Haydari may be lacking of some talent that he had before, but he isn't that bad. And having a coach's trust is important for a player's ability to make a good game. But in the future, yes, I hope Haydari won't be a choice that we have to consider.
Yeah, I'm gonna come to you, Adam. And interesting enough, just one thing I just want to say. Even like we just interviewed Steven Beitosher, and knowing he was an MLS All-Star, and right now Vancouver Whitecaps are first in their own division in the Western Conference. I still don't see. There's obviously maybe politics or whatnot, which we're obviously not gonna get into. That I still believe that Beitosher should be given a chance in the national team. Just because of he's proven himself in the MLS. But nonetheless, Adam, what's your thoughts on the right back situation with Haydari?
I mean, I can't even believe we're discussing Haydari. It's embarrassing. I mean, he has good games some days, and then other games he's non-existent. I don't really know what to make of it. We went from Mehdavi Kia to Haydari. I mean, it's ridiculous. What kind of legendary position of that Mehdavi Kia had, and then we introduced Haydari. Yes, I understand experience is a huge deal with the coach and the coach's trust, but I mean, it's time to give it up. Yes, I do agree with some of the points that were mentioned. When we do see signs of Haydari, he can have the good games, and most of the times, usually doesn't show up, and that's what we need. We need someone who has the ability to show up, who can play consistently, who can perform at a high level. At the age of 31, I can't really, put too much pressure on him anymore. I mean, he's way past his prime, obviously, but as a figure on the team with experience, I think it's very important to have, and it's something that not many teams can have, because a lot of players either they don't hang around or they don't have the influence on the younger players that an older guy would have. So I just think it's ridiculous, and it's time to move on. But I appreciate the experience that he brings to the young players, and if he would perform on a consistent basis, then I wouldn't have a problem.
Appreciate that.
When he does a good game, it's usually when he does nothing that actually includes on the result. When he does a bad game, he usually makes a couple of mistakes. I'd rather have like a 20-year-old or a 25-year-old make those mistakes and gain experience than have like a Haydari, which is totally insane. His inclusion is insane. Why? I mean, why? I'd rather have Rezayan doing those mistakes and learn from it and actually becoming a right back for the World Cup than having Haydari running around doing nothing.
It's interesting.
Right.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's ridiculous. You would expect from a younger player to make those mistakes and learn from them quicker, but I mean, when you have a veteran at the age of 31 making the mistakes, I have an issue, and that's where the problem arises.
Even the left back situation honestly is a problem. I mean, Babak, Godris, and something that all the regular panels, and they always pinpointed that we don't have a natural left back. I mean, we do have Merta Puladi, but because of his military services, he's not available. So there's always a gap. But nonetheless, next question I have for you guys, I'm gonna go with you, Ali Reza, is the goalkeeping situation, which is very weird. Especially knowing that Bayron Vance started against Guam, but then Hagigi was in goal. versus India, and knowing that Harry hasn't played for club. I mean, why did Queiroz make that switch? Is it because that Bayrovan was at Azadi, home comfort, or something happened? It's just mind-boggling because I thought Bayrovan was still gonna get started, especially knowing that Harry hasn't played for. He doesn't even have a club, and he was supposed to join the English club because of work permit or whatnot. He wasn't able to.
I don't know what the situation is with the call-ups also, because he doesn't call up. I'm not a fan of him, but Master Chojai, because he doesn't play for his team, right? He doesn't call him up. And then he calls up Hariri or Said Ezatolai, who hasn't. These two also hadn't played a match for 3 months. But I think he was given minutes to Bayram Vent, also because of the transfer rumors of Hariri. But at this moment, Queiroz is someone who has proven to him, a player who has proven to him, like Hariri on the World Cup. He will always use him as the first keeper. In my opinion, I will choose personally for Bayram Vent because he's minimum the same level as Hariri, but his throws. Long throws. There's a weapon. It could be really good on the difficult matches with those throws that he does. But I will personally choose for Bayern Vent. I said it in the Asian Cup also. But I think against Guam, he gave him a chance and a minute for confidence. So I think with him.
Pejman, what are your thoughts? Pejman? I guess there's
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
I forget to turn on my mic. Well, I guess in Rubin Kazan not playing can be a kind of opportunity for Bayram Vand, because Bayram Vand has done great in NAFT, and he's done great in the Champions League, and they're still in it in the quarterfinals. And he's a young goalkeeper, such as Hariri, but he's even younger than Hariri. And Queiroz is showing that you need to play games if you want to be in the national team. It may be something that we all expect, but with Iranians abroad, there are so few, so it's not so easy. It's not an easy issue to tackle. So Bayram Vand as a second goalkeeper to Hariri, or maybe even taking that spot, it won't be the worst thing that happened to the national team. All respect to him, I think he can develop to be an amazing goalkeeper.
Adam?
Sorry, Pejman.
Oh yeah, go ahead, Adam.
Yeah, I was telling that yes, talent Bayram Vand, there are different agents or minimum one club who was interested in England and Bayram Vand. They have called me, but it was not going to happen with the work permits. So it shows that he is talented, because I am not a specialist on keepers, on goalkeepers, but this club calls me, and it's a Premier League club. The agent of the club calls me and I was asking about how Bayram Vand was and if he could get a work permit on appeal. But I told him that he's never playing on the national team, so that made it impossible for him. So I think he has a talent. Otherwise, this club or the agents from different countries are not interested in him. Also, with his physique is great. If you look at Iriza Hariri, he's a long guy, but I don't know. It's not what a flexible goalkeeper should be. He played a great World Cup, but that's the only 1 month that I see him play well. And because you too, I think we have followed him on Persepolis. He was a talent for 1 year, and then he made a wrong choice to go to Rubin Kazan, and then he ended up at Penafil. And think if Benabat will play in NAFTA and Champions League, it's much better than play in Penafil in Portugal. You agree?
I don't know. It's hard. I mean, okay, Penafil is one of the weakest teams in the Portugal league, and they also went down. But still, training professionally with Portuguese teams, Russian teams beats training with Iranian time. I actually had an interview with a Swedish professional goalkeeper trainer, and he said he went to Iran to be with the goalkeepers, and he said in Iran there is amazing talent. There's so much talent there among the goalkeepers. They can do amazing things, but they can't do the things that a Swedish 15-year-old boy or girl can do. The simple basics they can't handle. Everybody wants to do those amazing things, but they can't do those simple things that is in a basic level. So I don't know how. I think that he learned those basic things much faster. And some people got talents and learned those basic things, but if you really want to be good, you need to move away from Iran for a goalkeeper. That's what I think. So that's why Haqiqi went to Europe, and he actually got some playing time. Playing against Porto, Benfica, Sparta, Braga and everything. It's much better than playing against Saipa and then after Masjid Suleiman and all other Iranian teams. That's my opinion.
You know, I'm going to come up to you now, Iman, and talk about the youngsters. You know, obviously we saw Torabi playing and stuff, and Saeed Zatolai getting some playing time. And congrats again to you, Ali Reza. You should be delighted for that. Looking at the games, not the India match, but specifically the Guam, I feel like especially when we were up 3-0 and, you know, slightly beginning of the half, he should have introduced more youngsters in the game just to get them, you know, Milan Mohammadi and stuff, just to get them going. What do you think he didn't include them, and which youngster do you think is going to be a key player for us down the line?
I mean, as I mentioned before, the central line is like very important in this team, Melly. If you look at look at Hosseini, how he's been carrying the central line for years now, and as soon as he was gone, I mean, it's not quite the same. We need somebody to tell the youngsters where to stay put, and that will be like the key thing. I mean, we can talk about Milad Mohammadi and Ehsan Hajsafi should be playing higher up on the midfield, either left or like in the central line instead of Ebrahimi or wherever. And we can talk about Azayah, Haydari, and Afuri. The key is still Hosseini, and what will happen during these playoffs until Russia when Hosseini's gone. Because face it, he'll be gone. I mean, he's too old. He'll become too slow. I mean, the inclusion of Hosseini, Montazeri, or I mean, before it was Saderi playing alongside him, it was a like sitting solid central half. We have players like Kanoni and Pueliganji with massive potential, but they really need a leader to stand besides. I mean, like it's like Silva went down and David Luiz was supposed to like carry it all by himself. So those two talents in the central half is key for Iran's success in the Russia World Cup, and it will be really interesting to see how Queiroz will balance like getting 3 points in the playoffs with including younger players to gain experience for Russia. When it comes to Torabi, I think it was. I mean, he really seems like a great guy. He's quite an awkward player. I mean, it's obvious he's got a lot of potential. But I still don't know like what position he can grow the most. Still really happy for his inclusion, his goal, a great celebration with Oceano, if you saw that.
Yeah.
Really happy to see him included after the Turkmenistan game when he wasn't really that good. So I'm glad he still got the nod and the opportunity to do stuff. I also love the Ali Shah sub resting Dejaga for the second game there in Guam. And I mean, Taremi started. So I'll be really interested to see how the back line will form. The formation will be longer down the line to Russia if Milad Mohammadi will get the nod at the left. And I mean, hey, Larry, please, forever, put him out.
Adam, what are your thoughts on new upcoming youngsters?
I think we have a lot of potential, but the main reason I think that Queiroz, especially with the India and Guam game, didn't really put a lot of the youngsters in as much as we would actually like to see was in my opinion, I think we were trying to prove a point, trying to get the points, and trying to tell pretty much our group and other groups that we're here to play and we're serious about this. Now, I think that in order for Iran's Team Melli to grow and prosper, of course, I would love to see the youngsters get more action in the games, especially more games leading up to the World Cup in Russia. So I think we have a lot of potential, but a huge factor is maturity. And I think if we play the experienced people and the youngsters can learn from them, it will benefit us in the long run. But as of now, I think the main goal was to become top in the group, which we all expected to be, but to really prove that we can win and we can get out of the group. And I think once that happens, Queiroz will be more comfortable. And I do like how Queiroz incorporates a few young players every once in a while and brings and rests the more experienced talent. But that is a balanced method that I think Queiroz is going to have to use in order for the youngsters to grow and be prosperous.
Appreciate that. And then we're gonna wrap this up. But the final question I have for Ali Reza, because
sorry, Pasha, I have something to say to Pejman. Pejman, why didn't he? Because we have a lot of fresh players, but they're all attackers or midfielders. So, and this group seems a really easy group. I know we have played 1-1 against Turkmenistan, but it was a drastic field. The pitch was really bad, and if we played 10 times, we will win it 10 times again, all over. But at this situation, I think it would be better if in this 1.5 year, we play against India, Guam, and Turkmenistan and Oman, that he calls up some young central defenders of left defenders to let them experience the level. And then after 1 year, when we are going to serious groups, then we can choose for Hosseini or for if it doesn't work. Because poor Ali Ganji did well in the Asia Cup, but after that we don't see him. He made his move to China and he's not playing anymore. So what is the problem? Because you are also saying he's not going to make it until Russia, and I think for Montazeri is the same. He's now, I think, 31 or 32, and it's going to be a problem in 2018. So who will be his replacement? Would it be easier to let the young guys play now and have some experience for the next level, or should he stick on?
Yeah, Ekan, this is always the question with teams that are in need of a generation change, and they have young players ready to take those positions. But the question is always, when is the good timing? Some people say yes, against teams such as Guam and India. But those teams, I know we won against them, but those games are important for us. For me, I don't want to risk playing Iran 3 team against India and Guam. To be honest, I don't think that we're that good that we can win those games comfortably at all. I don't know when it's a good time to let young players get time to play or having some experience. So that's why I think what Queiroz is doing now, if we look at the average age of our squad now and from the World Cup, we see that it's gone down quite drastically, but not in the defense. But we're soon getting there too. Just a matter of question before Ali Ganji will be a starter, right? And maybe even being able to replace Hosseini. and we have much other options. But to be honest, I don't.
You have to make the switch. So you will do it against Korea or Japan. I think even if you play with one central defender against Guam and India, it's no difference.
Maybe, but I don't know. I think you should always play with your best team. With our best team right now, it's not Rezayan, and it's not other young players such as Mohammed. For Ali Ganji, I think he actually should play, to be honest.
Yeah.
But I think
so that's one problem.
But that's because he's good enough. That's because he's good enough, not because we should do it for charity, because he will get some experience and get better. But that's an issue a lot of teams have had, and we need to have a good academy and a good young squad. It will have plenty of players to choose from, that we won't have to feel this uncertainty.
The thing is, I think just we really needed these 3-pointers, and I think we'll see it more down the line. We still did see like Kaveh Rezai, we saw Shah, we saw Saeed Azatollah, we saw maybe Torali.
They're not defenders.
Yeah, but I think it will be really important to see how the team will respond with players like Bruce Becheshmi, and if they actually make it to the Olympics in Rio, and how they'll respond there, and if we can include them to the 18 further down the line.
Yeah, because normally we lay on the defense. Iranian football is all defense, but it's a shame that we play always on defense and we don't have defenders.
Yeah.
Sure.
Can I say something? Can I say before I come back to Aliza for you to give your news? This comes back to mismanagement. This comes back to grassroots levels. You know, all these players we see, they keep coming to major tournaments and stuff, and we don't have replacements. As soon as Javod Nekunam left, you know, or if he's officially retired, which he never, he might come back or whatnot, you know, there should be a specific replacement for him. Now, that could be Azatollah down the line, that could be, you know, whoever. But I think this comes back to, once again, the mismanagement of the Iranian Football Federation, the grassroots levels in our country, because of whatever issues that uprising. So it's very hard that these. So we see always Hosseini, Montazeri, and stuff, and we don't have a natural, you know, replacement for him. Now it's Mortaza, Pour Ali Genji, maybe Kanani. So, but I feel, from my personal opinion, I feel like whenever we see all these players coming back, all these experienced players always playing these major tournaments, and we're not seeing much more youngsters and stuff, it always comes back to our management and stuff. As we see how Korea and Japan, they're all over us because it always starts for them at grassroots levels. You know, so I think that's just my personal opinion.
But yeah, probably. We all know that issue. But can I say one thing before we wrap it up here?
Yeah.
I think India and Guam made it too easy for us to win, that we think we're actually that good. I mean, look at their defense in these games that we played against them. They played the same defense as if they were an attacking team or they were the superior team. I mean, it was crazy. Now, I'm not a great tactician, I'm not a coach or anything, but when we basically were attacking with 4 guys, they were also defending with 4 or 5 guys. So, I mean, that made it too easy for us to get so many opportunities to score. Like when we play against weaker teams that know how to defend, they make it a living hell for us, and we win with like 1-0, 2-0, or sometimes we didn't win at all. I think if these teams were playing like this, when you park the bus or whatever you want to call it, if they made it like that, it would be much more difficult for us to win. And the absence of Nekunam was maybe the best thing that could happen for our national team. I think he's a great player, but he slows things down too much, and with that being out of play now, Queiroz had some other opportunities to have to make the game much more faster. I never seen so much quick short passes in Iran national team. Now they're seen in the last couple of years. Even if it's against Guam and India, we still managed to do it. So I think Nekonam being away was good because he's a great player defensively, but he slows things down too much and he controls too much. So That's being off. I think that's good. Okay, I'm off.
Well, I appreciate it, guys. Once again, thank you, Ayers, and Pet.
One last thing, I just
Yeah, go ahead.
touch on the fact that you mentioned the grassroots level with players not being included because there isn't any grassroots level happening in Iran because of the federation. That actually sums it up, because as Pejman said earlier, there are like amazing talents in Iran, but we run these experienced guys down the line till they're like in the late 30s because we don't have those guys that actually know where to position.
We still have Master Shojai. We still have Khosrow Haidari. We still, I mean, I love Jalal Hosseini and stuff, but but once we get to the World Cup 2018, we can't always rely on these guys.
Exactly, and they're over. But we have amazing talents, but they don't know where to stand, where to like defend and position and fall. And unfortunately, we include them when they're like 23 and amazing, but they don't know the basics, and that's because of the footballing federation. That's because of the footballing education in Iran is worthless when it comes to these things. It's just guys that have amazing talents, but they don't get no education from the age of like 15 and up. So they don't have the same opportunities other players have. That's why we see like Jahan Baksh doing amazing things, because he has that talent and he gets his footballing education elsewhere.
He's a role model. Saeed Azatollah, Azum. These guys are basically role models for P players in Iran. But these guys, I mean, it's just an Iranian thing. They want to be home comfort. They're celebrities back at home, and some players don't want to take the risk.
It's also luck. We have a lot of good players that want to come play across.
Yeah.
But teams are not crazy. If they look up the national team and they say, okay, you have a young talent of 22, but he's not playing a national team. It's really strange, for them. So why is he not playing in the national team if he's that good?
Yeah. Maybe that's why Kato is included later on, so he get his caps up, so he can do that transfer to England.
Yeah, but the caps have to be 70%. So it's not gonna. Yeah, but for other countries also, there are a lot of countries that are interested in Iranian players. But if they look up the Iranian team league, they are 31, 32, 33. So the transfer is not going to happen for a 20-year-old player with a lot of talent, because Shojai is playing there, or Hosseini is playing there, or this guy Haidari is playing there. So we need to fresh up also for the Iranian football. They want, Kevorsh is saying, I want players who play abroad, but you're not giving the chance to young players to prove themselves to go abroad. In Holland and Germany and England and Belgium, or these countries, they don't need players of 28, 29. They don't want that.
Yeah.
They want young players. It's all about investing in young players. So
we have a lot of mismanagement. Not investing in fields, we don't have enough grass. It's basically mud or whatever it is, and it comes back to, once again, mismanagement and stuff. I do want to wrap this up. I appreciate this a lot, especially Arias and Pejman being a regular panelist, and also thank you, Iman and Adam. Debuts on Gol Bezan, that's always exciting. Once again, I appreciate your time. It was a great discussion, and then I hope the viewers, you can find us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, iTunes. Just subscribe, like it. Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it, guys.
Great talk.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Next game would be against Japan. It would be interesting to see. It's friendly, I think.
We're gonna be parking the bus.